Welcome back to video number 2 on this Monday morning. This is our palate cleanser, so let's jump in and cover it, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start out this morning with King Charles and Queen Camilla. They went to a northeast London borough where they met community and faith representatives who provide support and guidance to refugees. So Queen Camilla donated 25 toys to Citizens UK while she was there, and those toys will be passed on to children living in asylum hotels, and a donation to a food bank was left on the King's behalf. They then went to a reception at Waltham Forest Town Hall that the council said was a, quote, celebration of the spirit of the borough's community. And of course the king, waved at the crowds while he was there. They listened to a performance by a children's choir, a little choir of joy. And then the king said, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. The king then joked that the children in the choir, made up of 8 to 12-year-olds, by the way, make the most of it for their poor teachers. And when people asked how the king was doing, he joked, "I'm still alive." This visit came after a peaceful protest by over 1,000 people outside an immigration center on August 7th as protests against unrest, were spreading across the UK. And Buckingham Palace themselves said the protest was an example of true community spirit. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that one of the MPs said that she was very excited to show how much it means to them that the king came because of the far-right groups that had already started, showing up in their community. And she said making these kinds of visits is so crucial. And we never want to get to a place again where people are having to challenge people in the streets. So she was very excited that the king was there. And in December of 2023, just FYI, Waltham Forest was officially recognized as a borough of sanctuary within the City of Sanctuary Charity. Love it. All right, let's move on. As far as the king's cancer goes, it was announced this past Friday morning that his treatments would continue into 2025. They're saying that King Charles has, quote, been moving in a positive direction, and as a managed condition, the treatment cycle will continue into next year. And there's a sense of optimism which can be seen in the king's desire to keep up a busy schedule of public engagements, including during the festive period. Well, there you go. So he's doing well. So well is he feeling that King Charles decided to film a Christmas special for the BBC Country File at Highgrove Estate, where they presented him with handmade decorations from furniture students. How cool is that? The king was next to Country File presenter Matt Baker. Charles and Camilla invited the team out there, and they spent 2 days at Highgrove, and they spoke to gardeners, event teams, chefs, students, and tutors. Apparently, during the episode, Charles was looking really good when they gave him the handmade wooden Christmas decorations. We all know that Charles is known for championing the environment, and he's been doing that since he was way young. That man was wise beyond his years. When he was 21, he was warning about the effects of plastic pollution on the environment, and people were making fun of him back then. Anyway, the ornaments were presented to Charles by 3 students from the Snowdon School of Furniture, and that course, which is part of the King's Foundation, focuses on developing furniture and making skills using British timber, which is apparently more sustainable as it reduces carbon emissions. Pretty cool. During this special segment, King Charles is also going to highlight his charity's commitment to sustainability and educating the next generation. And also, they meet at Highgrove Gardens and their team, and they help harvest Brussels sprouts. And the royal chef prepared Christmas dinner for them before they left. I think that's lovely. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, let's talk Christmas cards and what the hell is going on. So Catherine and William put their card up, and a few minutes later they deleted it, but then they turned around and reposted it, and the one that they reposted was a closer up view. I don't have an issue with that, but apparently that made major news. Ugh. Ay. And I mean, I don't know what's wrong with the UK media. Here we go. Royals called out in another digitally altered snap. This was not digitally altered. It's the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh's card. And as you can see, the Queen and Philip. And so this picture had Sophie on the wrong side. So all they did was mirror the image and flip it. They didn't alter the image. They didn't change anything. They didn't make anybody taller. They didn't blur out faces or only take pictures from behind. They simply flipped the picture so it would look more like Philip and Elizabeth. That's all. The media needs to get a frickin' hold of themselves. Next up, Princess Michael of Kent. She's 79 years old. Apparently, she fell down the stairs where she lives and broke both of her wrists. Oh my God. So when she was at the Christmas lunch, both of her wrists were in splints. So things like cleaning your teeth and, going to the bathroom and using a laptop, these things are very difficult after an accident. Now, I can tell you that I have myself taken care of a patient in the emergency room 20-something years ago. The person went to, as most people do when you go to fall, you put your hands out to break your fall, to grab yourself. But unfortunately, you break your wrist that way. So, yeah. We also know that last year she had heart surgery. So, I'm telling you, you need to take it easy, especially when you get older. All right, let's move on. Moving on to the Princess Royal, she was in Newmarket last week. She gave an address at the annual Racing Welfare Christmas Carol concert. And her speech went to a sold-out concert, I might add, and it raised over £4,700 for Racing Welfare Chaplaincy Service, which goes to Pastor Simon Bailey, the national chaplain to horse racing. Love it. Next up, we have Sophie and her daughter, Lady Louise. They attended the London International Horse Show at the Excel Centre in London. While they were there, they met a professional show jumper who was nicknamed the Flying Frenchman. See how animals can tell the good people? They both looked lovely. I loved Sophie's scarf that she flung around her neck. This is right before, of course, the whole family heads off to Sandringham. I'm glad I got to see Lady Louise. We haven't seen enough of her, I think. All right, let's move on to the big thing as far as I can tell. Kate Mansi wrote an article about the royal family and their tumultuous year for tomorrow's magazine, and obviously I love the cover. When you read this, you realize it really has been a hard year for the royals. In January, it was announced that Catherine was being admitted to a London clinic for abdominal surgery. And then 90 minutes later came the announcement from the palace that the king would be going into the same private hospital for treatment of an enlarged prostate. And within weeks, it would come out that both people had been found to have cancer. 2 senior members of the royal family seriously ill at the same time. There was a suicide in the family. There were protesters at different engagements. They're calling the Duke of York and the Duke of Sussex the Dukes of Hazzard. You had Princess Anne's head injury. And on a whole, even for the firm, the king just welcomed his 3rd prime minister. Now, a lot of people gave Charles a hard time because he wouldn't reveal the type of cancer he had, but they said that that was a conscious choice to reach out to the widest number of people who have cancer, not just the ones that have his kind of cancer. Of course, we know how hard this whole thing was on William, saying it was probably the hardest year of his life. Could you imagine? His father is sick, his wife is ill, and his brother is running around slamming the entire family every chance that he got. And as a result of everything happening, Catherine, for instance, has decided that the immediate family comes first. So Catherine and William's children are at the center of their universe, and while they were always a top priority, Catherine has well scaled back all of her activities so she can be with them even more. Again, and I've said this in other videos, I feel like she faced her mortality, and it really struck her. Even the Queen is not immune. I mean, she ended up with pneumonia. The article also says that there is no communication of any kind between Meghan with the King and Queen, and Harry can't have communication with King Charles, or King Charles won't have it with him while the court case is going on as a sticking point. And as for Andrew, well, there's just not a whole lot to be said about that, is there? I will say this. They're expecting King Charles' Christmas speech to be full of hope and looking forward to the future in 2025. And quite frankly, if any family really deserved a break, in my opinion, it's this one. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button and the thumbs up bell to help me with my algorithm. Then go down into the description box after you've left your comments where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is paused, my Amazon wish list, and my physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.